So our Pastor Brandon, preached yesterday at church, and he said a quote, and I want to know what you think of this quote. Okay, and you can think it's right or wrong. By the way, I have no dude on point with the mute button again. All right, he said, "You don't rise to the level of your desires; you fall to the level of your discipline." What do you think about that? I can read it again if you want me to.
No, you know what it made me think of, Corey?
What?
I don't know if you remember this. It was about like 10 years ago. I shared something on Facebook and it was of Noah. And do you remember this?
I'm trying to.
And
Not at the
it
moment.
was the caption, and it basically just said, like, it wasn't grace that saved Noah, it was his works or something like that. It was obedience. That's what it was. It was,
Mhm.
is his obedience. And I remember you sent me a message like, hey, let's talk about this.
Hmm.
And then it made me like hit my own wormhole. And you've been doing wormholes for a very long time.
Yeah.
Of just like, wait a minute, am I right or am I wrong? You know, like of
Yeah.
just this whole thing, and it made me just think of that. But like, I think that acts isn't what gets us to heaven, right? So you're right. We don't have to work hard to hit. Can you say it again?
So it's you don't rise to the level of your desires, you fall to the level of your discipline.
I've
I
heard
could
that
go
said.
either way,
Yeah.
depending on. And I'm not going to try to take the middle road. Go ahead, Corey. I'll let you go.
No, I've heard that said like in context of like businesses and stuff too. There's like a lot of like we don't like kind of this idea of like we don't rise to the occasion or the moment. We fall to our habits.
Right.
So basically, when something hits you in the face right away, it's like um, you're gonna default to whatever your discipline is, to whatever your habit is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Less than versus you're more likely to fall to your habit than rise to a better behavior
Mm-hmm.
when something is presented in front of you. So you have if
Yeah.
you took that in context of like you have uh, a situation where you're feeling like lust is the Christian word, feeling this thing is like you're more likely to fall to whatever your habit is that's built in versus
Correct.
like rise to being better.
Correct.
Uh,
And
so
so
like, what are your habits then?
this
Yeah.
was said in a sermon, right? And he was preaching out of Philippians 4 when he said this, to give a little bit of context, but he's essentially talking about spreading the word of Jesus. And it's like, it can be great for you to want to go and talk to people about Jesus and spread the name of Jesus and spread the good news of the gospel, but you don't rise to the level of your desires, you're going to fall to the level of your discipline. And so if you're not in the word, if you're not praying, if you're not this, then you're not going to be able to exceed at the level that you want to because your discipline doesn't back that up, right? So it's not just like
Sure.
taken way out of context. I was just curious because I feel like it has a little bit to do in my head with what we're talking about, of the sin and wired and why it's so hard to do things. And then you're talking about how over the last 8 months, you're in the word and you're praying and you're
Mm-hmm,
bringing
mm-hmm.
people in, holding people accountable, like, and you're doing all these things. And it appears, and maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like what you meant by that was like there's been progress over the last 8 months of like helping,
Mm-hmm.
like it's not fixed, right? It's a daily
Yeah.
thing, but there's been progress. And so it made me think of it because like your discipline keeps going up and up and up, and being
Right.
Yes.
in the word and being where you need to be and being within that will of God for you to have intimacy with you, right?
Right.
And so I don't know, I just threw it out there.
Bang bang.
No, I think that's great. I think it.